For a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Auditor Yoder will lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Thank you, Lord, for this day and for our county and our country. Lord, I pray that everything that is done today be done with grace and wisdom. In your name we pray. Amen.
Okay, good morning. Our next public workshop will be next Tuesday, December 5th at 10 a.m. in this room. Our next regular meeting will be December 6th, 10:30 a.m. also in this room. And then we have our budget hearings tomorrow at 9 a.m. In this room. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco.
Here.
Mr. Malloy.
Here.
Item number 1 is to dispense with reading the minutes of the regular meeting dated November 15th, 2023, and approve the video recording of the November 15th, 2023 Commissioners' regular meeting as the official meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
No.
Item number 2 is to approve the bills.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 3 is to transfer monies.
Motion to approve the transfer.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 4 is to approve additional appropriations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 5 is to transfer appropriations.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 6 is to receive the amended certificates of the County Budget Commission number 23-2023 and number 24-2023 for the fiscal year beginning January 1st, 2023, dated November 13th, 2023, and November 27th, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 7 is to authorize the Trumbull County Auditor to transfer unused fund appropriations to various other fund appropriations that are in need of monies to meet current expenses and to make other additional appropriations as necessary, providing these transfers and additional appropriations fall within the amounts certified by the County Budget Commission.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
No.
Item number 8 is to authorize any and all fund transfers as necessary to close out the 2023 accounting year.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
No.
Item number 9 is to adopt a resolution approving the list labeled as August and September 2023 then and now of purchase orders to the various vendors as then and now purchase orders in compliance with ORC 5705.41D.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 10 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the right-of-way permits requested by the companies listed. And those companies are Caldwell Builders, Dominion East Ohio, and Michael Slaubaugh.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 11 is to concur with the county engineer to grant special hauling permits to haul steel coils requested by the company listed, and that's J Road Transportation Services, Inc.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 12 is to concur with the county engineer to grant the special annual supplier fleet permits for fleet vehicles requested by the companies listed. And those companies are GNS Trucking, David L. Shetler, Shetler Transport LLC, John Brown Trucking, Inc., R&J Trucking, Inc., JM Logging and Lumber, and Steelhead Trucking.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 13 is to authorize the Board of Commissioners clerk to advertise for sealed bids for the TRU TH 222B Hazelcraft Road, Farmington number 16 bridge replacement, project ID 114350. The project consists of the replacement of the existing bridge structure, Farmington number 16 on Hazelcraft Road over Mud Run in Farmington Township, along with minimal roadway approach work and the installation of new guardrail.
Motion to approve?
What number is this?
13.
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 14 is to authorize Danny Malloy, President of the Board of Commissioners, to execute on behalf of Trumbull County the 2024 Marine Patrol Assistance Agreement with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, ODNR, acting through its Division of Parks and Watercraft for the purpose of establishing and/or maintaining and operating a marine patrol program to enforce the watercraft laws of Ohio as set forth in chapters 1547 and 48 of the Ohio Revised Code, and to enforce those regulations, rules, and ordinances promulgated by state and local authorities that pertain to the operation of watercraft and to provide emergency response to boating accidents on the water. The agreement is a necessary requirement in order to obtain the 2024 Marine Patrol Assistance Grant applied for by the Trumbull County Sheriff's Office. The estimated cost of the program is not to exceed $32,861.32. The state of Ohio will agree to pay up to $24,645.99, and the local share is not to exceed $8,215.33.
Motion to approve?
Second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Because it's an item that the commissioners haven't received any paperwork on, no.
Item number 15 is to establish the creation of the State Road Water Regionalization Project Fund, County Project number 2-W-23, known as Fund 464, for use by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. Funds are to be used to build a new water line between the Braceville and Champion Public Water Systems.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 16 is to establish the creation of the Crane Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Fund, County Project number 7-S-22, known as Fund 462, for use by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. Fund is to be used for the Crane Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 17 is to establish the creation of the Smith Stewart Sanitary Sewer Fund, County Project number 2-S-17, known as Fund 469, for use by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. This fund is to be used for the Smith Stewart Sanitary Sewer Project.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 18 is to establish the creation of the Scoville Drive Sanitary Sewer Fund, County Project number 5-S-16, known as Fund 466, for use by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. Fund is to be used for the Scoville Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 19 is to establish the creation of the State Line Road Sanitary Sewer Fund, County Project Number 1-S-19, known as Fund 470, for use by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department. This fund is to be used for the State Line Road Sanitary Sewer Project.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 20 is to execute an agreement with Matthews Local School District for the use of the Matthews High School cafeteria to host the public hearing for the Scoville Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project number 6-S-15 on December 14th, 2023 from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. The agreement is necessary in order for Corsa to add Matthews Local School District as an additional named insured for the specific meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 21 is to authorize the Board of Commissioners clerk to re-advertise for sealed bids for construction of the Alman wastewater treatment plant improvements known as County Project Number 9-S-20 in the Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer District, Metro Subdistrict, Newton Township.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Only because I didn't receive any of the supporting document or copies of the bid. Anything that came in, all I received is this item without any information. No, and I'd like to review things before we vote on them.
Item number 22 is to authorize the Board of Commissioners clerk to re-advertise for sealed bids for contract services for repair work of water and sewer lines for 2024 on a per-call or as-needed basis for the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department in accordance with the bid specifications as prepared by the Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer.
Motion to approve?
Second,
For Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
And for the same reason, we only received this agenda item without any, without the bid that was deemed incomplete. I think it's our duty to look at things before we vote on them. I'm voting no because I wasn't provided adequate information. Unfortunately.
Item number 23 is to authorize Danny Malloy, President of the Board of Commissioners, to sign the proposed amendment number 1 to the Ohio Department of Youth Services Subsidy Grant fiscal year 2024. Amendment number 1 is for the purpose of realigning funds to further support youth programming needs allowable within the grant. The Youth Services Subsidy Grant Fund 112 operates from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Second,
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 24 is
24, can you please use the word ratify, execute as an agreement, ratify as a letter? Thank you.
item number 24 is to execute a
It's
letter
to-
of
I'm
support.
sorry, I'll make this motion. Number 24, to ratify a letter of support for Eastgate Regional Council of Governments application to the Ohio Department of Development's Appalachian Community Grant Program to fund the Lake to River project, which will include numerous activities entered around infrastructure, healthcare, and workforce development.
Is the letter already written?
Yes, the point is,
I mean, the letter is written already. So are we approving it or are we writing it?
We're ratifying it. Ratifying is approving. Look, as you look back at number 20, it said execute an agreement. That's more commonly used for agreements. This is for a letter. It's more commonly used for ratifying.
Right, but if we're gonna write it, we execute. If we ratify it, we're approving one that's already been written. So are we approving one that's already been written or are we writing a letter of
For
support?
agenda items,
Yeah.
it's already been written. So you ratified. If
By-
you'd have read your packet or your information related to the agenda items, you would know that. I'm just doing what is normally done. If you want to,
Okay.
can you second it?
No,
Oh,
this is ridiculous. Let's move on, please.
Yeah.
I wanna make a motion to adopt as written, agenda item 24.
I'll second that.
Mr. Cantala Mesa,
Yes.
Mr. Malloy,
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Sure, but you guys are just dumb. Sorry.
Good
Item
one.
number 25 is to accept maintenance bond number Q 91-6870289 from Erie Insurance Company for MGD Excavating, Inc. for the completed West Farmington Village Sanitary Lateral LMI Household Connections Project in West Farmington, funded through the project year 2021 CDBG Community Development Grant Program and the project year 2022 Home Sewage Treatment System Reserve Program.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item number 26 is to authorize payment to the Mahoning Valley Manufacturers Coalition, MVMC, for the annual membership dues in the amount of $1,500. Membership in the MVMC allows the Workforce Development Board as well as the Ohio Means Job Center access to a broad coalition of manufacturers across the Mahoning and Shenango Valleys. Access allows for the referral of job seekers to manufacturing positions, as well as the provision of employer services to area manufacturers.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Discussion, I was looking for, some type of report about the outcome associated with the service that's provided, and you don't have to, you don't have to come up here. I send it an email and I don't know if anything, this morning you just, okay. I didn't see it. It must have been right. But I would
Yes,
like,
part of the plan.
yes. Right. Okay, I would just like information gathered if you're, just to support the membership and the benefits of using it. Okay, thank you.
That was Mr. Bim Turner.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
Item 27 are routine liquor permits. And these are all transfers. Brookfield Business Inc. doing business as Brookfield Drive-In and Storage Shed to ANY 1313 LLC doing business as Brookfield Drive-In and Storage Shed. Next, Krabby Bob's LLC and Patio and Walk-In Cooler to Stay Bones Sports and Gaming LLC and Patio and Walk-In Cooler. And lastly, Foley Restaurant Group RFP1 Inc. doing business as Rapid Fire Pizza to La Palma Family Restaurant and Bar LLC.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Yes.
All right, that concludes the regular agenda items for today's meeting. Does anybody from my colleagues have anything for the good of Trumbull County?
Yeah, actually, we have to address something. I already sent an email this morning. We have department heads in Trumbull County, and because of the lack of, first of all, I think we need to go back. I know you guys voted against me on making sure that we have policies and procedure manuals and SOPs and training manuals. You voted no on those things when you started, or the timeline, I think.
They have until this March. Yes, we voted yes to update them by this March.
We need to see it. I think it's important that we get an update as to the work that that has been done so far related to those things, because you don't expect to just have something brought to you in March and it be in a format that we automatically approve. As administrators, we need to review things and have an opportunity to revise them. So that's important. But in absence of those things, we have people who have been advanced in the county with lack of public advertising for their positions, and they make their way up through the ranks where maybe their position should have, their service probably should have plateaued. Now we have the dog kennel director who, because of the inability to understand government works and how to hire, discipline, et cetera, caused us to be in a world of trouble, now entered an agreement on behalf of the Board of Commissioners without letting the commissioners know. Whether or not there's payment involved, even if we're going to a public hearing for water or sewer at a school, it's required that we have an agreement in place even for one day so that Corsa can cover us and make sure that we're insured during that period of time. Now we have someone, when I spoke to her this morning, said that she has the ability to enter leases. We have people in Trumbull County who are department heads who don't realize that the statutory duty of entering leases, contracting, disciplining on a level where there's a monetary impact, such as being put on leave without pay or administrative leave. They think that they could just do these things. And I think that we need to have some training for some of our staff, and maybe some of our staff, I think, needs to be looked into and written up if they continue to do things that are outside of the scope of what they're supposed to be doing. It leads us into a liability, and I'm concerned that there's an agreement that even though it's a great thing, it sounds like it's a wonderful thing, what they're doing, it needs to be done properly. And that's the exception that I take with what happened. So I forwarded it over to our prosecutor's office, whether or not they'll respond, because it wasn't the majority of the board that sent it in. Because, and as you know, last time we met, we did approve us to meet somewhere else to use their space. We had to be covered by insurance. There are things and nuances associated with leases and with using spaces that we are supposed to, as the county administrators, in absence of one as the Board of Commissioners and the executive, be making sure things are done correctly. We're not doing that. We're just letting department heads do things without approval, without going through the prosecutor's office, and that's not okay.
Yeah, you had your say with this. There's a thing in this world called common sense. And what you're talking about, Commissioner Frenchco, is there were 10 dogs that were left outside in 20-degree weather yesterday. So the dog ward made a decision to house those dogs at the Animal Welfare League at zero cost to the county, where their volunteer group is paying $13 a day for the dogs. So if we were to follow what you just said, you would have them wait with the dogs outside until we had a meeting, and she went through the proper chain of command to go to the prosecutor to come to us and leave 10 dogs outside in less than 20-degree weather, just to satisfy you to say you were right and the rest of the world is wrong. Common sense prevails in this situation. I commend the dog warden for finding housing for the dogs on a weekend, this past weekend, and being foresighted enough to realize it's going to be cold. We need to have precautions so no dogs suffer. She did the right thing. There is no long-term agreement there. She's asking us to enter in a permanent long-term agreement for the rest of the winter for these dogs. But she made a judgment call to move the dogs to safe housing in 20-degree weather. I see nothing wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. Again, common sense prevails in this situation. And I would have a jury of any peers in the world rule on that, and I'm sure they would rule in the favor of the dogs.
Okay.
So you had your 2 cents to throw a shot at the dog warden, because there's another related thing going on with discipline where you're trying to get her in trouble. This has nothing to do with that.
There is the ability, if she needed to be creative, to let the dogs go to a rescue, and then the rescue would be able to do something like that just to avoid any liability associated with the county. There are other things that she does.
On her job off on somebody else to a rescue.
That is what they do already. And there was no effort on her part to contact anyone.
I was contacted. Were you?
Prosecutor.
I talked to her personally. Did you?
She picked the commissioner that has the least experience and covered the commissioner.
No, she probably picked a commissioner that has common sense, that wasn't going to fight with her and belittle her and take her down.
Okay, so we have, the person with the least knowledge. Look, are we gonna bring up your record seriously?
You want to bring it up? Go ahead. You're wrong there. That's a false statement you
Bring
just
it
made
up
right there.
Next week.
Go ahead and bring it in.
Can
and
we
you'll see
please?
You're absolutely wrong.
At the end of the day, the well-being of the dogs. I mean, we're here to follow policy and procedure. Yes, obviously we make every effort to do that, but there are extenuating circumstances when it comes to something like life or death, where you need to make a decision, and our department head did the right thing. I think she should be commended. Would you want the dogs outside in 20-degree weather? I wouldn't. Sometimes you need to make these tough, immediate decisions. And let's not chastise her for trying to provide the best service that she can.
Contact Corsa or anyone. There is no, what I'm saying is that some people are narrowly focused because of their limited understanding in governance and management to where they're just looking at the animals, and she's very good with the animals. But then other people are capable of understanding government and running government who will think about insurance and liability and these other things. That's what we got elected to do. That's what
But we also,
most administrators in the county and department heads should be doing. That's actually what we caused to happen with the engineer when they were doing the demolitions. We wanted to make sure that wanted to make sure there was at least insurance on the day that they were performing those services to make sure that there's no liability. That's all I'm saying. There are things that need to be happened and buttoned up and done correctly. And you can still do that on the fly as well. There's no reason not to try to do things the right way, except for the fact that someone doesn't understand. And we have a problem with a lack of understanding from people in high positions in the county.
I respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything for the good of Trumbull County? Diane first.
One, se-
Hold
one
on,
second,
sir. We
Mr. Suddles, hold on.
called on
Go
her
ahead, Jack.
first.
Or,
Diane.
No, come on up. No, go back.
Hi, Diane Siskook Jakovic with the Senior Levy. I picked up the wrong packet. I don't have my paperwork with me, so I'm trying to do this off the top of my head. I have two items here that I wanted to bring to you before we proceed forward with agenda items. The first is regarding the Ohio Healthy Aging Grant. I prepared a document to send out with your approval, not today, but on next week's agenda. But today I'd like to get what your opinion is as to that document. I sent it to all of you. It spells out what's required in this grant. The plan is, or the thought is, to send it out to nonprofit agencies for them to send back a request for application. It's a request for application where they send back their idea of programming. And then the advisory council would review those programs and bring it back to you for awarding for those contracts. Keep in mind, 50% of that grant, which we already received, it's cash in the bank right now, almost $780,000. 50% of that has to be contracted by March. 100% has to be contracted by June, and 100% of it spent by September 30th. So we have a very narrow timeline here. I'm asking if you reviewed that paperwork, if I can place on the agenda to send those requests for application out to nonprofit agencies.
I saw the email. I asked someone to print it. Did you have it with you? Because
I have the wrong packet when
Okay.
I have tomorrow's meeting, not today's meeting.
I wanted to look at it and paper, go over it. And
Yeah,
I saw
print
the
it.
email was like paragraphs, and I was preferring to see a chart or something,
Your printer won't print that because I
Please
emailed
don't
it.
do this. then.
No, I'm
Seriously, you have a printer in there.
No,
You're saying you can't do anything because you can't hit
That's a
print
good
again?
question.
No, can you send, if there's something that we need to see, again, ask our staff. They don't give us the information we need to make decisions. They can minimally give us things like charts and things and print them out for us. This is
That's
ridiculous.
Absolutely not true.
So,
It's absolutely not true.
go back and print it and put it in your
please,
mailbox.
yeah, I sent it to an employee that didn't.
The
ready.
second item is a little bit more, we'll see how you feel about this one. We have the Office of Elderly Affairs that maybe is closing their doors. because of funding.
I've had people upset over that, and then going over to
So-
the Jewish Center.
So my thought was this grant came along, this could fill that 20% initiative for the food. It doesn't mean another food initiative can't be requesting funds. My thought was in order to continue operations for those seniors receiving the meals, to use this grant to support that office. I talked to Mary Beth Pumphrey, who is the current acting director. She said their food vendor contract is good until 2025, so she's covered with that. We have about 100 consumers that would need to be transitioned if we didn't continue that operation using this grant. or
Now-
to offer the continuation of what these seniors are used to.
So the
with this.
question I have, we're paying for staffing for people who aren't able to provide food? Or we're in that position to where we'll be doing it? The employees who are providing that, are they being paid out of the senior?
Right
Levy.
now, they are
They're-
still being paid by Direction Home of Eastern Ohio
Right.
until the end of December. After that, the thought was to use this grant to continue that service, to allow those consumers to either by natural attrition or when they go to a nursing home, the numbers keep decreasing as far as who they're serving. The hope or the plan is that we would have less people that we would transition once that money runs out to the other agencies. Plus, it's good timing with when our RFP round goes out for the new meal grants or meal contracts so that we could increase the funding for those contracts with that RFP to absorb these clients.
And what about the employee, the employees? That's what I'm concerned with, is the senior levy money going towards, how many employees are
It
funded?
wouldn't, it would be still funded by the grant if that's the operation that you want to choose.
Where are we paying for any other employees or volunteers or anything like that? Just you, right?
Our senior service unit's always been part of.
Yeah,
the
that's
center.
Okay.
Just me, one person doing this work.
Okay.
Feelings on, because I would put that on the agenda next week as well.
You're talking about the
For
food.
Office of Elderly Affairs to continue operations using the grant money to support that.
I agree with that. I agree with the food service because that's something that I've heard in the community. People are upset, and there's a difference between the service delivery. Am I wrong to say that there was, one of them does frozen meals or something? And there were some people who were seniors who were not happy with that because of their
We have
limitations.
3 different contractors. 2 of them do daily hot delivered meals in the county. Means there's daily
Right.
contact. The frozen meals, we do have contact, but it's by phone. The agency delivers once a week,
Right.
different routes.
Is that
And
the
those
one that's-
Other days, they are called to do a wellness check on those people.
What's the organization that does the frozen ones? Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I had them right in my mind.
Not want to use this grant funding for Office of Elderly Affairs, there's going to have to be additional funding provided to those current contractors to absorb these new consumers because they're already at capacity.
I
now.
absolutely.
And turning people away because they don't have the.
That's been
contract.
my chief complaint from hearing out in the community, is that people are being transitioned to food providers. And I know it, to many people, it just sounds like, oh, it's no big deal. They're still getting food, but that change is extremely difficult for people to go from having something hot to having something cold, which is a concern that some people complained about.
They
And-
wouldn't all be transitioned to just the frozen meals. They could be transitioned to Trumbull mobile meals as well. But what I'm trying to tell you, with that transition, we need to do some contract changes to allow for additional funding to those 2 agencies.
And
I
that's
just use those 2 because Country Neighbors are other agencies.
Yeah.
They deal with the
right.
upper half of the county.
I agree. That's what I would like to see happen, because that, before you even sent your email, I have already been concerned about that because people have been reaching out to me over that transition and worried because they've received a letter from the Office of Elderly Affairs and I've
They
been,
received a letter from Direction Home.
oh yeah, that's it.
Passport clients would not be part of this. So Direction Home oversees the passport clients and they have to work on transitioning those people, which leaves still 100 people that are getting served by Office of Elderly Affairs.
Yeah, I support that. Cause before you even came, I was thinking about it. So I was happy to see that that was your suggestion, because it coincided with the need that I've been hearing that the community has, just from family members and people who reach out.
I don't necessarily disagree, but if we didn't go with Office of Elderly Affairs and distribute it with the other vendors, I guess, what percentage of those, I mean, I know the hot meals is an issue with the seniors, obviously, and especially when they become accustomed to it. how many of those would be transitioned off of hot meals or, you know?
100 clients, I don't know how many of them have the ability to do the frozen meals.
I mean, but
I
my
don't know.
point is,
That would be
we
Mary
are
Beth.
sort of delaying the inevitable with Office of Elderly Affairs too. You know, I mean, we're limping along, here, but I don't know how much longer.
The 20%
sustain that.
initiative part of that grant would take them through about, she figured about 5 to 6 months
So eventually there's going to be a transition.
eventually.
But you'll be able
But
to
it gives
better,
us this.
to have the time, yeah.
What about her time? I know we transitioned her over to help you, which you said you're already one person. Is that gonna take her duties back there again for another 6 months?
Half the time would be spent with the meal program in the afternoons, possibly using her for any needs that I have or Mike's office.
Oh, she's doing, so you're gonna use this grant to fund her position, which isn't just dedicated to that, it's to
Eventually,
other,
eventually she'll be part-time with me. Towards the end.
so this funding is going not just to provide the meals, but to
It's her overhead.
her overhead.
Right.
She's the
Everything.
director.
Obviously.
But it's not, it's not just strictly for the services. Is there an ability then to use it for mobile meals or for other?
Other
Yeah.
agencies can request funding, yes. That's going to be the decision to be made once the nonprofits return their request for funding.
But I mean, as far as her not receiving any of this money, I mean, she's a county employee. She's going to get paid through there'd be no other way to fund her salary. You know, this is
Either my office or the grant,
right. Exactly.
but the grant is continuing the service that she's already doing.
So that's something to take in consideration too.
Definitely more interested in making sure that the service is delivered, not necessarily.
Have to have an
employees.
But you have to, yeah.
Right, but
Well, we do have budget hearings tomorrow too. We need to know if that department exists or doesn't exist when we come to the budget for next year on whether they're gonna be operating or not.
And that's, with the budget, I'm not sure what, if anything, was submitted for her office to the auditor's office. I don't know. I don't believe she did because that's not her expertise. She didn't think she'd be in an operation next year. So this
So
contract
delaying
would-
the inevitable sounds like it is what it's doing. Are
It
there
is.
other, what were the other options for making sure that the food is covered for senior citizens then? That's in more of a sustainable situation.
adding to the current contracts and transitioning people.
With Jewish Community Center and those other vendors.
Out of
Mobile
senior
Mills and
levy.
Country Neighbor.
Originally,
That-
it was going to have to come out of. senior
Country
levies
Neighbor,
carryover.
what is it? Country Neighbor, the.
Mobile
Jewish-
meals.
Mobile Mills, Trumbull Mobile Mills.
Are there other agencies
Well-
out there that that haven't applied yet or that you know of that are out there that could apply for this money?
That would be you can't just like add. on to
Correction
the
Home, I could
contract.
find
Yeah.
out who they use for their service providers in Mahoning County.
We already have a contract with those though, so the ones we have a contract with, we'll be able to add on to them. But we can't just change who we're contracted with though.
Yeah, but this is new money coming in that it's the discretion of the commissioners. We could do whatever we want if we want more nonprofits involved.
What I said is they
Understand,
can
again.
apply. Those food
Okay.
vendors can.
They can't apply.
Yeah, apply. But
Right.
we already have some in place though already and then
Got $335,000 that can be used on any program above and beyond the required housing, food and tech portion.
Well,
Yes,
I wasn't prepared to make that decision today, but
I
certainly
guess I
can-
would like to see,
So that
Okay.
she knows whether she's going to be.
Sure. No, I get it.
continuing, or is she
And
continuing?
there are a lot of factors to consider, as you mentioned, so.
I would like to see, yes, prepare something for the nonprofits so that you can go out and advertise to the nonprofits to put in for the money. And
That's what I
the
said.
proposal also to keep her on board for a little longer, to keep not only her, but the guys that deliver. You know, we've got to gauge them if they've already made other plans or if they're going to be there,
So
if they have an
next-
interest in still working there.
Trumbull Mobile
So
Mills is
next-
having problems too.
They're all at capacity.
Yeah, I know, I'm familiar with them having.
We need more
some
funding.
Yeah, so,
Um,
and they have a very good operation if you're.
They do.
It's,
They all do a good job. So next week I'll have both those items on the agenda to send out that request for application and Office of Elderly Affairs.
wait, the request for application, though, you said you could just add on to the current providers though, as opposed to that.
The request for application is for the.
The additional funding.
To.
You can't just, to say that they want to do it, you know, basically.
They have to send in their
Right.
programming request. That's what that request for application is for the whole grant.
No, I know, Diane, you have a meeting tomorrow when we have our budget hearings. And that's to, some of it is to appropriate some of the rest of the money, that's 785,000, no?
Oh, that's just to discuss where we're at today
Okay.
for me to just.
Because I saw on the agenda, you had that on your agenda for tomorrow was this money. I just want to make sure before we make long-term decisions, we have a more inclusive thing with the commissioners to
That's
decide where that,
just-
which direction that money goes.
Be meeting sometime in January to review all of these applications and procedures.
Okay.
Okay.
Fine with that.
Did you by chance send that to the ARP council to review to make sure there isn't anything? My question with that is, this is originally ARP money that the feds
is.
gave to the state and then the state's passing it on to the county. In that grant, I think it's the fourth paragraph down, I copied it from the grant requirements that we have to follow what is allowed per ARP. I don't know what's allowed in ARP. It's not my expertise. I've never dealt with this. So I asked that you send it on to that council just to advise us, what are we allowed to spend it on and not spend it on?
Food is allowable. That's what, the
Is
same.
transportation, is homemaker care, is any
Well,
service.
some of those things are delineated in there, I believe, but we want to make sure it is, that's a good point. And a lot of people think this
Like
money
you
just
said,
comes out of the sky, but this was part of the stimulus package and
Absolutely.
ARP money, and we want to follow all the guidelines that we need to.
Back by next week?
Probably not.
Okay.
No, yeah, they're
Well, I
like
guess-
40 behind and
I guess once we start looking at the programs that are offered, then that question should be resolved.
Right. And there were a lot of other counties getting this money besides Trumbull, like 82 counties are getting it. So,
6 of 88.
so we should be able to get some guidance too from other counties on where they're spending the money and what's
Mahoning County
appropriate.
just gave it to direction and said,
Well,
that's how they handle it.
that's Mahoning County. We want to
Right.
look at it a little
Right.
closer. Not to say that they did,
Pick
but
This opportunity because I hope to bring in new
Sure.
programs that eventually when our RFP round comes around, we can include them, that program in our RFP if it's succeed.
potentially.
did you end up
Kind
getting,
of like a kickstart to
you
me.
know, the bidding list that when I was on levy council, that you're talking to Bill Denso, did you end up doing that?
Not allowed.
What was it called?
I was not allowed.
Did you
Was
have
not
that
given
opinion?
Permission to do that.
What was it?
I
Regis-
don't have that legal written email from Bill Danzo, but it's
I would
something
like that.
that they're cautious about.
It's the registered bidding list or something that you had. Is that what it was called?
I believe it's the normal error on the side of caution, fear of missing a vendor and being possibly,
Qualified bidder list? Is that what it was called?
no, because that's, I think, engineering terms, qualified bidders list, where you have to be
Yeah.
licensed and certified and qualified. I think it was just a bidders list.
Will you send me that, please? Okay,
Email or do you need it in print? Just asking.
email it.
I can drop it off next time I'm in next week.
No, you could email it and just say in the subject line what it is. But when you're asking us to make a decision and you have everything out there separated and you're gonna come and you're gonna speak to us, I would like to have it printed.
I'll email it.
Yeah,
That Danzo, if I can
Yes,
find it.
just
It was a.
please identify what it is in the subject. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Name and where you're from too for the
Yes,
record.
sir. Thank you. My name is Dan Suttles. I'm chairman of the Brookfield Township Board of Trustees. I'd like to address our ARPA request that we made several months ago. I know you've had a meeting. I was out of town. I wasn't able to provide any information. I've met with, I had talked with Commissioner Cantal Mesa and Gary Newbrow because there were some questions on this program that we're asking for funds. It's it was submitted through the portal. It is the Valley View Stormwater project. And it includes an ongoing issue we've had in our township for 20-some years of this stormwater that's overtaking the neighbors, running down the street, the backyards, it's floating sheds. It's a problem we've had, but been unable to afford to do anything. We had the engineers come out and do an engineering survey and give us some direction on cost previous to even the ARPA funds becoming available. So we had that on record. So our request is for $416,594.50, which was part of that I put through the portal. You had that information. But there were some questions as far as whether it would affect the sanitary in a different area. And that's when we talked with Gary Newbrow, where maybe a future program, by us doing this, it would alleviate some of the stormwater problems that they have with that sanitary and another part of the same development. So he determined that by looking at the maps and looking at our road supervisor, who's part of the project, was more able to the size of the pipes and what have you, and spoke with them. So I would like you to consider this as part of, this is the only project that Brookfield Township did not put any other requests in for ARPA funds. We have some ARPA funds, of course, in a township, and we address those less costly items in our township with our ARPA money. We do have some ARPA money remaining. And if the commissioners could not see to, that's a big dollar item. I know you have a lot of people asking for funds. We're willing to, anything that you're willing to contribute. We have some of our ARPA funds we can use too. We're to put some skin in the game. We just can't, that's a big chunk out of what we have. We've done a culvert project already with our ARPA funds. We're turning 2 of our facilities. We're putting backup generators so that we've had several power outages last year, as everyone did in Trumbull County, as a cooling or heating place for people to come. We don't have a backup generator, so we're investing some of the money in that. We've done various smaller dollar item projects, but I did have, it was provided for me if you needed it. I just got it yesterday. People have had it, but some of a video of the water running down this street in the middle of summer. And it goes into the garages, into the basements, and then it goes in the backyards. And this project involves quite a bit of changing the storm sewer lines, making them bigger, and also where that water goes at the end. There's a huge collapse. It's a drain or a culvert pipe that's collapsing, and replacing that too. That's why that dollar item is rather high.
And thank you. And we're talking about 25 to 40 households, right, Mr. Suttles?
Yes,
I mean, that's a significant amount. And as far back as when I first started, there's always been issues in that area with flooding, and but we've always tried to tackle it, together, but there's never been the funds necessary to address it. I know those people have been waiting patiently for relief. This is a chance for us to work together to possibly, to find that relief for those individuals that are going through this. They've been going through it for 20 years, as you mentioned. And I think obviously Brookfield doesn't have another, although you had a sanitary sewer project, but those were spread out all over the county, but no other specific ask other than this. And for you to be willing to put in your ARP money to maybe, go half, or we can negotiate that, but to fix this problem, I think it's something that the board needs to take very seriously.
I've already asserted that I support your project and that I support stormwater management. That is my pet peeve all over Trumbull County, is the lack of comprehensive stormwater management planning. And I believe that there should be. People do things without realizing and recognizing the impact on other properties. And it's routine, and I see it all over, and it bothers me tremendously. So every time I see a stormwater management project, since I've been here, I'm always supporting. So I absolutely want to see yours go through. That's one of my peeves.
appreciate it.
Auditor Yoder, where do we mark this last time?
I was
Okay.
the yes.
Well, yes, absolutely. And to clarify, we wanted to check with, the only reason we were waiting is to check with Gary Newbrow.
Right.
Some of that I that we thought might affect our system. This is actually going to improve our system. So, there was some questions there. But yeah, there were some questions there about it, but, we appreciate it, Dan.
Any other
Thank you.
questions? Thank you very much for consideration. We do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so you have a consensus, auditor, to please add that to the review column, and then we can figure out the amount after we get a review from
Mr.
Tanya.
Chairman, to
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, too, it's worth noting that we need to make everybody aware that we are, as Commissioner Frenchco mentioned, I mean, I know Tanya's and Auditor Yoder would attest to this. She's inundated with opinions right now that we're not getting back. Yeah, so everything's been sort of halted, not on our end, but it's just. Right. Okay. Yeah, because I don't think anybody's heard from her, but hopefully she's okay.
Okay, anybody else have anything for the good of Trumbull County Auditor Yoder? Should approach the mic.
Before I took office and on and off ever since, the issue has been raised by Commissioner Frenchco as to the legality of the budgeting process as practiced for many years by the county. Specifically, the preparation of a recommended budget by the auditor's office based on historical data and requests by departments and public officials. Before and since I took office, I spent time studying the current process as well as looking at the ORC, speaking with my fellow auditors and also with Attorney Danzo. Based on my research, as well as my own public budgeting experience and education, I came to my own conclusion that the current process is within statute and that I would be within the statutory duties of my office to continue participating in this process. I was aware, however, that the waters were muddied by Commissioner Frenchco's statements, and it would be important not just to clarify this issue in my own mind, but also to make it clear publicly that the current process is legal. I requested the prosecutor's office ask Attorney General Dave Yost for a legal opinion on this matter. Prosecutor Watkins did so, and he has released the opinion to me. You each have been given a copy that I printed out, as well as sent an email, should be in your inbox when you get back to your office. The opinion detailed by Attorney General Yost explains that while the county administrators are permissible, it's optional for county commissioners to appoint them. The opinion then explains the duties of the county auditor related to fiscal matters in the county, preparation of financial reports, acting as secretary to the Board of Commissioners in absence of appointment of a clerk. The Attorney General also notes that the county auditor has an integral role in the county budget process and details that role. Attorney General Yost states that given both the county auditor's subject matter expertise and statutory involvement with county budgetary matters, we find that there is no conflict or problem with the county auditor advising the county commissioners in the tax and appropriation budgetary process. Within the opinion, the Attorney General notes that voluntary advice and assistance in budget preparation does not represent a violation of the separation of powers. This is because the county auditor is not interfering with duties of either the judicial or legislative branches, nor does it violate the statutory restriction on the county auditor holding more than one office, because the county auditor is only functioning as the auditor in offering advice and assistance and not as a county administrator. All of that was a quote. His conclusion is that, quote, for the reasons set forth above, it is our opinion and you are hereby advised that there is no identified conflict or prohibition that prevents the county auditor from advising the Board of County Commissioners in preparing the upcoming year's budget. In some commissioner meetings, Commissioner Frenchco has stated that the county auditor preparing a recommended budget for the board is analogous to the state auditor preparing the budget for the legislature. This is a poor analogy because the duties of the state auditor and county auditor, in spite of sharing a name, are very different. A better analogy, rather than comparing state and county government, would be to compare county and township government. Though county government is more complex than township government, they share the same basic structure, the same bones, if you will. At the township level, you have a board of 3 trustees and a fiscal officer. At the county level, there's a board of 3 commissioners and the auditor, who is the chief fiscal officer. The township fiscal officer acts as secretary for the board of trustees. The auditor, in absence of an appointed clerk, is the secretary of the Board of Commissioners. In townships that do not have an administrator, the fiscal officer creates a recommended budget for the trustees. It is my hope that this opinion will put to rest the misinformation that the current process and my office's participation in that process are somehow illegal or corrupt, and that we can move forward with a smooth and civil process. Thank you.
Thank you.
Auditor,
Thank you.
can I ask you to waive privilege on this letter you have so we can give a copy of this?
Is there
Okay.
the letter that was requesting the opinion attached? Because it looks like
Back page.
the response, oh, in the back page.
Yep.
It looks like the response is not specific to us. I mean, it says an absence of a clerk, but we do have a clerk appointed, and it also talks about an advisory capacity. But in Trumbull County, there has been, there's. but
Please
it-
read the opinion.
I did, yeah. Yeah, but.
And again, we've gone round and round on this
Advisory.
about,
Yeah, it's just completely, since I've been here, it's just completely prepared. We show up and then we get told to vote on
That's
it
not
without
true.
any participation.
that's not true,
It's
Commissioner.
true.
There's discussions with the auditor that you didn't partake in.
There were discussions with the auditor that were never public. All of a sudden, we come to a meeting and.
I
we're
can meet
supposed
with
to-
the auditor one-on-one,
Okay.
as can you, as you should.
You know, the decisions and the preparation and that those that fall on the Board of Commissioners.
Please read the opinion.
Okay.
Please read the opinion.
All right.
I mean, at what point you actually mentioned that the auditor, excuse me, auditor,
Sorry.
at what point you actually mentioned that the auditor was not the chief financial officer of the county? And which time we were going back and forth that,
Talking about
yes,
Budget, yeah.
yes, they were.
I will
Thank
read the relevant portion that you're concerned about as to what we were asking. In Trumbull County, the Board of Commissioners presently has no administrator and no budget director. For many years, the Trumbull County Auditor has assisted the Board of Commissioners in the budget process in a number of ways. For
Where are you
example,
reading from? Which page?
these are the last 2 pages of your packet, request for opinion. This is the letter from Prosecutor Watkins to Attorney General David Yost. For
Okay.
many years, the Trumbull County Auditor has assisted the Board of Commissioners in the budget process in a number of ways. For example, the auditor had traditionally attended budget hearings where county officials and department heads explain their budget requests. The auditor attends many of the board's regular meetings to answer questions relative to financial transactions that appear on the board's agenda for consideration. The auditor has also traditionally presented the board with a proposed budget for the upcoming year based on the historical requests and expenditures in each office and department. So it was specifically outlined within the
Yeah.
letter for the request for the opinion, exactly what has been done.
That's not exactly what it.
That's actually exactly what's
Yeah.
been done.
There's a difference between assisting and actually.
The
Just
auditor
it in
has
entirety.
traditionally presented the board with a proposed budget for the upcoming year. That's extremely specific. It's not.
Many years the Trumbull Auditor.
It's never gonna sink in.
I know that. But I know that at least everyone in the world knows that what we're doing is legal and we'll continue
There's a
that.
difference between assisting and actually doing everything. So, okay.
Great job, Martha, on clearing that up, because this will make things go.
General
Okay.
Saw exactly what we've been doing and
Okay.
presented this opinion and said exactly that we're legal.
It's
I
the
don't
same.
know precisely what more you want, but maybe you're going to accuse the Attorney General now of corruption. I don't know.
Ooh.
Anybody else have anything for the greater good of Trumbull County?
Just as a housekeeping note, I had a meeting with, I talked about it yesterday. I don't know if you guys had the chance to, we broadcast the meeting on YouTube, but I met with, and I told I'd report back to the board. As you know, at one of our workshops, Judge Lucci from the Court of Appeals came and talked about the 2019 study that the Supreme Court did on our Court of Appeals, talking about the lack of I guess, protection and security surrounding the court, and talking about securing the perimeter of the court because it's wide open. There's been an ongoing effort, obviously, in our county, with our building as we have it now, to secure the building. We need to make sure that we're doing that with our courthouses too, and that includes our Court of Appeals. So I sat down and met with Judge Eklund and Attorney Masachi, their administrator, and discuss some ideas as to how we can best do that and how we can best become in compliance with that study that was conducted by the Supreme Court. We talked about a fence around the perimeter of the back of the building where the judges and the judges and the employees and everyone parks and people visiting, and a gate so that they could be monitored how they get in and out. So long story short, we're hopefully going to come up with a plan to at least address some of those issues. And we're going to work with the Court of Appeals, obviously, and do whatever we need to do to secure that facility, because we're fortunate to have them here in Trumbull County, as you know. And so I think one of the first steps is, when I talked to Judge Eklund, is a fence and not, barbed wire, tacky type thing, but maybe wrought iron or something like that, 6 to 7 feet high around the perimeter of the building. Obviously, it's going to be rather costly, but I wanted to bring it to the board's attention because it's something that is pressing. And with COVID in 2019, we got sidetracked with a lot of different things, obviously, when the study came out, but we're in a financial position right now that we can address that. And I think we need to at least look into that. And I wanted to relay it to the board. And I urge you to either contact Attorney Masachi or Judge Eklund at the Court of Appeals if you want more information, but we do need to proceed with that, in my opinion.
I agree. I also think we need to address parking again in the very near future, because as we can see the change behind the building, we got a lot of spots that traditionally have been utilized by our employees are no longer available for employees. And I know you had a conversation with someone from
Trumbull Family Fitness, yeah.
and I look forward to continuing those conversations with us as a board to figure out how do we create close parking, not only for employees, but for senior citizens or anybody that wants to come and utilize county services. It's very awkward. It's very odd. We don't have enough spots out front, and now we don't have spots out back unless someone wants to walk an awful long ways. So that's something I think we need to look for. And even if it means leasing, renting, buying, doing something there, we need to put things on the table to solve this problem, because parking spots aren't going to get any cheaper and they're not making any more land back there. So this is something we need to address in the very near future.
Mr. Chairman, too, I was hoping he would be here today, but one of the board members from Trumbull Family Fitness also met with and talked about, obviously there's future plans for that spot there, but in the meantime, I think we can. He wants to at least approach the county, and I told him to come to a meeting. I didn't know if he'd be at this meeting, but about leasing some spaces there in the interim, probably for the next 6 months to a year. I know that's a temporary fix, but a lot of seniors have to trudge through this snow every day, and I see it walking in. If we can make it somehow easier on them and utilize some of that parking, it's at least worth entertaining and listening to him. So hopefully he'll be at the next meeting.
Very good. Anybody else have anything from the room? How about the phone lines? If you want to be addressed, you can hit *6 and announce yourself on the phone lines.
I do.
Commissioners,
Go ahead.
commissioners, can you hear me?
We hear you. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Michelle Goss, Trumbull County Dog Warden. I just wanted to address a couple of things that Commissioner Frenchco had to say about transporting some dogs to AWL. I mean, I guess the bottom line is, you know, we acted fast and got the dogs out of the weather. We did not go into any written contracts or agreements or anything along those lines. We hope to do that really soon. Their prosecutors are actually working on that. But I did not sign any contracts, any agreements, nothing like that. We had a weather advisory here, as everybody knows.
Hang on, that's not what
we
the
had to-
email said. The email said that there was something that was already done, and you told me that you had the ability to enter those things. And you had the discretion and ability to do those things this morning after I called you upon receipt of an email.
Okay,
that said
okay,
that you
I
were-
never, okay,
So-
Commissioner, it's my time. You said your piece. I actually had to hang up on you this morning because the whole office heard you screaming at me. If you would let me explain things, you would know. I sent you just a very generic email in case the public had questions today, just to let you know about the dogs going over there.
the
I
agreement
told
was-
you to ask if you had any questions, not belittle me in a public meeting, okay? As I said, there were no contracts signed, nothing like that. We do the best we can here. We had to get the dogs out of here. I make these decisions every day. We send dogs to rescue. We send dogs to the Humane Society every day. These are decisions that I have to make every day. There was nothing different that happened here. We do want to go into a written agreement with them, absolutely. At no cost to the county, let me add. Our rescue group is going to be paying for everything. No cost to the county. I think probably a thank you would be in line instead of belittling the dog warden per usual. But yeah, again, no contracts, no nothing. We had to get the dogs out of the weather. We took them over there. We do want to rent space from them. And when I have the contract,
Yeah, and how
when
about
I have
calling-
the contract, when I have the contracts to present to you, I will present them to you. And then as the commissioners, you can approve that or deny that. That would be up to you. And if you choose to deny it, we move the dog back here out in the weather, and then everybody there can be held accountable for that.
At the end of the day, Michelle, at the end of the day, we can't lose sight of our focus here. The focus is those animals and caring for those animals. And I commend you for making a quick decision. And I'll take the heat every day of the week for that, because you're talking about health and life and death of these animals. That comes before everything. That trumps everything. So I think you made the right decision.
It does.
We'll clear it up.
We're dealing
We'll
with
clear it up
live
on our
animals.
end. Don't worry about that.
I agree. I agree. Good job, Michelle. You use common sense, as I explained earlier, and you have the majority of the board's
You
backing.
have to understand this is government. It's not just common, it's not just what you would, there's a level that it doesn't.
I did talk to the prosecutor also.
And you can,
So-
you can actually call or email the board in advance, not just the one that is going to rubber stamp, but to me, I'm meticulous. I make sure things are done correctly. You should have called. You don't reach out. You don't send emails to all of us until after.
Why
the
in the
fact.
world would anybody in their right mind want to call you?
Okay.
And
Make
when they don't have to?
Exactly.
Why would they want
And
to?
let's not
Right.
lose sight of the fact that this is life or death, keeping these
It's like
animals
sticking your
outside.
hand in a bear trap. Why would you
mean-
want to do that?
Exactly. And
Make sure
I
things are
make
done
these
right.
decisions
I mean,
every day.
you got
without
us,
the
you
board.
got us sued with the Chuck Parks thing. So you should be, have your tail between your legs a little bit and make sure that when you're asking
Not at
for
all.
things to happen.
No, you
that-
are the one
that-
behind the
that
Chuck
you're-
Parks
when you're-
lawsuit and the
when you're-
EEOC commissioner.
Exactly. And please stop with that. We're not talking
So
about
you
that.
want-
You
what
want to
you
talk
want-
about
What
that?
you want to
That's-
do
that's
is
fine.
make sure that what you're doing is
keep
correct.
it
You've
up.
already
Keep
had a
building.
history
Keep
of
building,
doing
Commissioner.
things just off the cuff without verifying that they're done correctly, and you got us in trouble
Just
there.
to let
So
you know, the
just
whole
do
case,
that.
I
Okay,
was
you're
under
done.
directed by a party.
Okay,
Okay?
all right.
So
All right.
Yep, you just keep on spewing them lies, Commissioner. You other two commissioners have a good day. I
Okay.
just had
Thank
to
you.
say what was factual
right,
and have a
Michelle.
good day. Good luck with
Okay.
that. Thank you.
Commissioners, I'm not going to get into this because I am HR and we are going to do things legally here.
Right.
However, I am not going to stand for the board continuing, well, specifically one person on the board. This is Alexander DiVincenzi Bush, the Human Resources Director. I am not going to stand for this board to continuously, specifically one person.
The
Tell
illegitimate
something that is
HR
untrue.
Has no experience. You are.
Sure, no
illegitimate.
experience, yet I'm fighting the battles for this county.
No, you will be
single-handedly.
illegitimate in March,
Single-handedly.
Commissioner. You will be illegitimate.
Illegitimate.
Now,
You're-
what I would like
go
to
ahead.
say
Sure
is,
bet.
we are, you can turn your camera on me all you
It's a
like.
weapon.
No,
we're
it's
not-
just funny. She's just.
We are not going to talk about legal
we-
things
we're
here.
not gonna- How about we get how about you do HR and get employees to work and discipline them equally instead of just letting people be disrespectful and not do their job?
And what do you
know?
consider what do you consider your behavior towards everybody, towards department heads, towards these
Okay.
employees of this county? What do you
Okay.
consider that, Commissioner? Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead and identify yourself, please.
This is Amanda Aber, Warren, Ohio. As a Trumbull Pound volunteer and an employee at one rescue and volunteer at another rescue, unfortunately, we cannot rescue our way out of this problem. I am very glad that the decision was made to get these dogs out of the cold. Rescues are full. Rescues don't have room to take the dogs. Last week, we were very fortunate that North Coast Boxer Rescue pulled the boxer that we had, and Rescue Village pulled 4 dogs. When I left here on Wednesday, there were still 8 outside and 5 in crates, I believe. So the decision had to be made, so I fully stand behind that decision. And the fact that Voices is paying for that is fantastic, because that's money that could be used other places. So I'm very glad that Voices is covering that. Just really what we need, obviously, is a new building here. But what we need as a rescue community is for people to step up. Adoptions are down everywhere. We need fosters. We need people to open up their homes temporarily, because rescues can't help pounds if they don't have fosters available. Rescues can't help pounds if they don't have resources available. So we need fosters, we need financial resources. What we really need is a huge influx of money to help spay and neuter, so that we can slow down over a course of time. We can slow down the number of animals coming in, because the majority of animals that come into a shelter or a rescue are unaltered. You spay and neuter them, then over time you slow down the influx coming in. And another thing that sorry, it's just been a very long morning already. I can't think of anything else. It's fine. But I fully stand behind Michelle's decision, and publicly the board should as well. Oh, I did also want to mention, all rescues, humane societies, pounds, and everything, all have liability insurances. So if it was a matter of a concern of if the AWL had insurance, I'm fairly certain that they do.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Pound 6, please, or star 6.
Not make
I guess just
motion.
one last thing, just
Go ahead.
I said it
Commissioner.
before a couple weeks ago. We talk about tourism all the time. It is deer season. It is gun season. We've already harvested over 5,000 deer in Trumbull County this season already. There are literally thousands of people hunting Trumbull County all week. So this weekend, if you're out and about, especially in the northern part of the county, those are people that are coming to our county to spend their dollars, recreate here in our county. Please treat them welcome and be thankful. And hopefully they spend a lot of money while they're here in our county. And with the duck season coming up, there is a fall and winter, or I should say winter recreation based around, or tourism entertainment based around hunting and fishing that is a big part of our economy. And a lot of the farmers in this county rely on their business also with the leasing of their land for hunting opportunities. So it is a economic generator also. So be cautious of that. When you see someone in orange or camouflage, they're not a bad guy. There's someone here spending money, recreating, experiencing traditional recreation. So
Thank
that's
you.
all I have.
Also, that being, anything else, make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Thank you all.